My hands are literally shaking as I type this NGL. I never thought I'd be posting my whole damn life story here, but I need to get this out. I'm Bethany, 33, and for what felt like forever, my life with Dave was perfect. We built this amazing world together over 8 years. But then I found the texts, and suddenly my perfect life wasn't just imperfect, it was a lie. Okay, so I'm sitting here. It's Saturday morning, way too early for wine, but here we are. My apartment is quiet, too quiet. I'm surrounded by these old boxes, right? Like time capsules of a life I barely recognize anymore. One for college, one for childhood stuff. But this little red one, this one always felt different. It was the before Dave box, and honestly, sometimes it felt like the before everything went to hell box too. Just looking at it, I can feel my heart doing that weird fluttery thing, like it's trying to beat its way out of my chest. IDK, maybe it's just the wine. I opened it, not even really thinking, just going through the motions. And there it was, a CD When I Fall in Love, and a card, both from Mark Peterson, my first love. The actual ache of seeing his name hit me like a physical punch, even after all these years. TBH, NGL, it always does. I shoved the CD into my ancient player. Yeah, I still have one, don't judge. And the music started. That old classic romance. It was our song. And just like that, I was back. 20-year-old Bethany, working that crappy receptionist job when Mark would just show up with flowers. Not on special occasions, just because. And Brenda, my coworker, she'd always tease me, "Bethany girl, he's got it bad. You better lock that down." IDK, why? But that memory always stings a little, knowing what happened next. She meant it as a compliment, but now it feels like a cruel joke from the universe. Flashback to my heart literally being ripped out of my chest. Mark got into Stanford. Dream school, dream guy. And he left, not with a bang, but with a whimper. A gradual fading out that felt worse than any dramatic breakup. He just moved on. And I was left, stuck in our small town, feeling like a forgotten footnote in his amazing new life. That kind of heartbreak, it leaves a crater, you know? A part of me just froze. Life after Mark was a blur of existing, not really living. It felt dull, muted. I'd go to work, come home, rinse, repeat. The only thing that consistently brightened things up was my walks with Sarah, my best friend. She'd listen to me ramble about Mark, even years later, and just nah, or tell me to get over it in the most loving way possible. She was my anchor, always. Even then, even after all that time, I'd still catch myself daydreaming, fantasizing about being Mrs. Dr. Mark Peterson. It was pathetic, NGL, but a girl can dream, right? Then, when I was 25, Dave walked into my life. Literally. My stupid car broke down on the side of the road. Classic, right? And this guy, this ex-military, totally self-made auto shop owner, stops to help. Dave. He had this calm, confident vibe. And his eyes, they just held mine in a way nobody ever had before. He fixed my car like it was nothing. And while he was under the hood, he just kept talking to me, asking about my day, making me laugh. I felt seen, you know? Our first date felt different from anything I'd experienced. We talked for hours, not just surface level stuff, but real deep conversations about our pasts, our dreams, what we wanted from life. He'd been through so much, seen so much, but he wasn't jaded. He was kind, thoughtful, and so damn smart. He owned 3 auto shops already, self-made. He was stable, mature, everything Mark wasn't or couldn't be at that age. I was so used to guys who just wanted to hook up or played games. Dave was a breath of fresh air, a real man. At the end of the night, he walked me to my door. I fully expected him to try and come in. TBH. Every other guy did, but he just smiled, leaned in, gave me a soft kiss and said, "I had an amazing time, Bethany. I really want to do this again. I want to build something real with you." And then he left, just like that. I was floored. A good kind of floored, though. I immediately called Sarah, obviously. "Girl, I think I just met a unicorn. He actually left." She laughed. "He's probably gay, Bethany. No straight man declines a free pass these days." I was like, "No way, he's just different." And he truly was. It took Dave about 4 months to say he loved me. We were on the couch watching some stupid movie, and he just looked at me, really looked at me, and said it. I just hugged him tight and whispered, I know, I've loved you for a while now. My heart, that part that had been frozen since Mark, it finally started to thaw. It felt like I was finally, truly moving on. It felt like my life was finally beginning. A year passed just like that. A beautiful whirlwind year. And then we got married. A small ceremony, nothing fancy, just close family and Sarah. Dave said he wanted everything to be about us, not a show. NGL, it was perfect. We moved into his place on Kensington Street. Our place now, he insisted. It was this cozy brick house with a big yard where we planned to grow old, raise kids, whatever. It felt like home from the second I walked in. This was it, my forever. Still numb, I picked up the gold box. This was from our wedding day. The first gift he ever gave me as his wife. I put on the CD, So Much Love, and the music filled the silent room. My throat tightened. I remembered being in the bridal suite, Sarah fussing with my hair, trying to make me laugh so I wouldn't cry and ruin my makeup. Bethany, stop it. No tears until after you say I do, okay? You'll regret it in the photos, she'd said. And I just nodded, my heart practically bursting. Seeing Dave for the first time in his tuxedo? NGL, my breath caught. He looked so handsome, so serious, so mine. In that moment, standing there, my stomach doing actual flips, I remember making a silent vow to myself, to him. I was going to make him the happiest man alive. I was going to be the best wife. I was going to cherish him forever. That smile, the one I had on my face looking at him, it faded. Right now, it feels like I've failed that vow, like I've let him down somehow, like I didn't try hard enough. Or maybe I tried too hard for the wrong person. I just shoved the gold box back, couldn't look at it anymore. Too painful. My eyes landed on another silver box. This one, our first anniversary. Oh man, that was a night. I had planned everything. Booked reservations at our favorite fancy restaurant, got tickets to a comedy show downtown, even found a cute little piano bar for after. And yeah, I got a full Brazilian wax. For him. NGL, it hurt like hell, but I wanted to feel sexy, confident. Wanted him to see me like he did on our first date, all new and exciting. I remember getting ready, blasting some cheesy pop, feeling on top of the world. Dave came home, saw me all dressed up, and his eyes just lit up. He had a gift for me, too. A small silver box tied with a ribbon. He was so excited he actually dropped it, and the lid flew off, spilling everything. A delicate diamond necklace, glinting on the carpet. My jaw dropped. He just laughed, got down on one knee, and picked it up. Happy anniversary, my love, he said, and fastened it around my neck. It was perfect. A delicate choker, just sparkling. We danced in the living room to Frank Sinatra, The Way You Look Tonight. Cliché? Maybe. But for us, it was everything. His arms around me, my head on his chest, feeling his heartbeat. We were so deeply, completely in love. It felt tangible. He whispered in my ear, maybe we should just skip dinner and head straight to the bedroom, huh? In NGL, I was tempted, so tempted, but I'd worked so hard on the plans. Nope, you're going to anticipate it all night, mister, I teased, feeling his smile against my hair. And we did. We had the most delightful dinner, laughed until our sides hurt at the comedy show, and just held hands at the piano bar, sharing drinks, talking about our dreams for the future. Every touch, every glance, it was charged. The anticipation was insane. When we finally got home, it was like fireworks. One of the best nights of my life. Even now, I still have that diamond choker. It's in my jewelry box. Sometimes I just hold it, and I can almost feel the weight of his arms around me. I gave it a quick, almost unconscious kiss. Then there was the second anniversary, another silver box. This time I put on Nat King Cole, Unforgettable. I'd bought this sheer negligee, totally out of character for me, but I wanted to surprise him. When he walked in, I was waiting in the bedroom, bathed in candlelight. He stopped dead in his tracks, just staring at me with this look on his face that made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. He had another gift, of course, a matching diamond bracelet and earrings. He said, "You're truly unforgettable, my love." We saw out the entire evening lost in each other. No plans, just us. Intimacy, laughter, whispers. We ordered pizza and drank wine in bed after, just curled up, happy and content. Those moments, those early years, they were so full of joy, of pure, unadulterated love. How did we get from there to here? How did I get from there to here? I can still see the anniversary card Dave gave me for our second. His handwriting, so strong and steady. Unforgettable in every way, and forever that's how you'll stay. The words were so simple, so pure, now they just mock me. I put the Nat King Cole CD away, shoving it back into the silver box. I purposefully avoided the blue boxes today. Those ones? Those are for later. Way later. Maybe never. They represent the really bad stuff, the unraveling. This white box, though, where I keep these early memories, I guess this is where my innocence got packed away. The beginning of the end. It was about 5 months after our second anniversary. Everything with Dave was great, truly. We were still in that honeymoon phase, really. And then he just reappeared. Dr. Mark Peterson. He walked into my office. NGL, my stomach dropped to my feet. He looked good, really good. Taller, more confident. That whole successful doctor vibe. The years had been kind to him. "Bethany," he'd said, like he couldn't believe it was me. And just like that, it was like no time had passed. All those old feelings, the ones I thought I'd buried so deep, they just clawed their way to the surface. For both of us, I could tell. He flashed that smile that used to melt me and asked, "How about lunch? For old time's sake?" And without even thinking, I just said yes. My mouth moved before my brain could even register the danger. My colleagues, they adored Dave. Seriously, he's one of those guys everyone loves. So when they saw Mark, this handsome stranger, asking me out, you could practically feel the disapproval radiating off them. The whispers, the looks. I knew exactly what they were thinking. Even then, that little voice in my head was screaming, "Red flag." But I ignored it. I ignored all of them. Lunch with Mark. It was like stepping back in time. We talked about everything, catching up on years. He was exactly how I remembered him. Charming, witty, ambitious. And that old fantasy, Mrs. Dr. Mark Peterson, it just resurfaced. Suddenly, the dull, muted life I'd had before Dave was contrasted with the vibrant, exciting potential I'd once imagined. I kept telling myself it was innocent, just catching up with an old friend. But deep down in that dark, little corner of my heart, I knew. I knew I was willing to betray Dave, even then. The thought was already there, festering. As soon as I walked back into the office, Sarah was there, arms crossed, face serious. She pulled me aside. "Bethany, what the hell was that? Everyone's talking." "Mark Peterson, seriously?" She looked genuinely worried. "What's Dave going to say?" I just shrugged, trying to act casual. "It was just lunch, Sarah. Geez, relax. We just caught up. He's back in town." But she wasn't having it. "Just lunch? Bethany, that man broke your heart. Remember? He left you for Stanford. He moved on without a second thought. And now he just waltzes back in and you're having just lunch? Don't be stupid. You have a good man, Bethany. Don't ruin it for some nostalgia trip." Her words were harsh, but I knew they came from a place of love. She was my best friend. She knew my history. I tried to reassure her. I know. You were right. I won't do anything to jeopardize my marriage, I promise." But even as I said it, I could see the doubt in her eyes. And she was right to doubt me. Because despite my words, the desire for Mark, that old toxic pull, was already there, threatening to unravel everything I had with Dave. It was like a little seed, planted right back into my chest. For weeks, it was just lunch. He'd email me, I'd email back. We'd meet up, innocent enough. Then it started to escalate. Dave was working late more often, building up his new shop, sometimes staying until 8 or 9. Perfect opportunity, right? Mark would text, "Drinks after work?" And I'd say yes. Just one, I'd tell myself. But it was never just one. It was two, sometimes three. We'd talk for hours, just like old times. He always made me feel alive, like I was the only person in the room. These drinks turned into secret date nights. We'd meet at bars across town, places where no one we knew would ever see us. Mark, he wasn't pushy, which in a way was worse. He just slowly, steadily reeled me in. He never even asked about Dave, never acknowledged my marriage or the ring on my finger. It was like he just didn't care. Or maybe he just knew he had me, hook, line, and sinker. And NGL, I couldn't resist. Every text, every call, every invitation, I was there. My desire for him, it was growing stronger, consuming me, and I was letting it. Then came the perfect storm. Dave, bless his innocent heart, announced he had a 5-day business conference in Pittsburgh. "Bethany, why don't you come with me? Make a little trip out of it. It'd be fun," he said, his eyes all hopeful. NGL, a part of me, the part that was still capable of being a good person, considered it for a split second. But the bigger, darker part, the one Mark had been feeding, saw it as an opportunity. A wide-open, guilt-free window. "Oh, honey, I wish I could," I said, putting on my best disappointed face. "But work is just so crazy right now. And with Sarah's sister getting married soon, I'm helping her with a bunch of stuff. I just can't get away." Total lie, absolute fabrication. And he just bought it, of course. My sweet, trusting husband. He always believed me. The moment Dave's flight departed, I called Mark. "He's gone," I whispered, feeling a thrill shoot through me. "You can come over." And he did. He practically flew over. For the next 5 days and 6 nights, our house, our home, became a playground for our betrayal. Dave's bed, the one we shared, the one where we'd made love and whispered our dreams, became the scene of my infidelity. Every laugh, every touch, every whispered word with Mark was a knife twisting in Dave's back. And I just let it happen. I reveled in it. Mark was good, like really good, an experienced seducer, no doubt. He knew exactly what to say, how to touch, how to make me feel desired in a way that, looking back, felt almost clinical. He wasn't just physical. He played on every emotional vulnerability I had. He made me feel special, seen, like I was the only woman in the world who truly understood him. He told me he'd never forgotten me, that I was always the one that got away. And like a complete idiot, I bought every word. Hook, line, and sinker. Again. By the end of that week, I was convinced. I was going to leave Dave for Mark. It wasn't even a question in my mind anymore. Mark told me he was moving into a new house soon, a bigger place, perfect for us. And I just pictured it. Me and Mark, our new life, my old fantasy, finally coming true. I was completely deluded. Saturday morning came and Mark finally left. The house felt empty, silent, but I was riding this high, this rush of adrenaline and desire. And then the doorbell rang. It was a florist. A huge bouquet of my favorite flowers with a little white box attached. It was from Dave. My heart seized. Inside the white box was a CD, 6 Days on the Road. It was a funny, upbeat song. I remembered him mentioning it, saying it always reminded him of road trips. A surprise. He'd planned this, to cheer me up, to make me smile while he was away. He was thinking of me, even then. My stomach churned with a mixture of tenderness and absolute dread. This sweet gesture from him just made the weight of my secret, the magnitude of my betrayal, feel like a physical burden. How could I face him? How could I ever look him in the eye again? 2 weeks later, Dave came home. He walked in around 4 p.m., sunlight streaming into the living room. He looked tired but so happy to be home, so eager to see me. He dropped his bags, spread his arms wide, a huge smile on his face, expecting a big hug, a passionate kiss, a welcome home from his loving wife. But I couldn't. I just couldn't. My body felt alien, unresponsive. I couldn't even fake it. "Hey, honey, Astien," I mumbled, avoiding his gaze. "How was the trip?" I kept my distance, crossing my arms. He looked confused, his smile faltering. He reached for me, but I stepped back. "I'm already tired, Dave. Maybe tonight, okay?" I heard the flatness in my own voice. He just stood there, his arms slowly falling to his sides, his face a mask of hurt and confusion. I heard him mutter under his breath, "Who is this woman and what has she done to my wife?" It was barely audible, but I heard it, and it twisted the knife in my gut even deeper. He looked so defeated. He just picked up his suitcases, walked past me, and started putting them away, then went to do a load of laundry. Just like that, the air was thick with unspoken questions. Later, I was in the kitchen, trying to look busy, trying to avoid him. He came up behind me, put his arms around me, tried to give me a gentle hug. I flinched. "Not now, I'm trying to cook. Just leave me alone," I snapped, pulling away. The words were out before I could stop them. His arms dropped. The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel Dave's confusion, his hurt, radiating from the living room. He was sitting there, quiet, processing. I knew he was trying to figure out what the hell had happened to me while he was gone. He probably figured I was mad about something or stressed with work, but he couldn't have imagined the truth, and I couldn't tell him. The guilt was like a lead weight in my gut. I kept peeking into the living room, avoiding his eyes, knowing that every averted glance just confirmed his growing suspicion. It was awful. After a silent, tense dinner, Dave finally stood up. "Come on," he said, his voice flat, not a question, more of a command. He dragged me to the bedroom. The intimacy that night was cold, forced. It felt like an obligation, not a connection. Every touch felt wrong, every kiss felt like a lie. I was just going through the motions, trying to get it over with, trying to pretend. I could feel him trying, though, trying to get me back. But I was already gone. Afterward, he didn't even lie there for a minute. He got up, went straight to the shower. I heard the water running for ages. When he came out, he was dressed, not in PJs, but in actual clothes. "I'm going to the shop," he said, his voice still flat, no emotion. "Got some paperwork to catch up on." And then he left. Just like that. He didn't come back until Sunday night. When he finally walked in, the house felt even colder, more strained. "Where did you spend the night?" I asked, trying to sound concerned, but it came out hollow. He snapped back. "I had paperwork at the store, Bethany. You know that." The tone was sharp, something I'd never heard from him before. "I was worried," I tried again. "You didn't call." He scoffed. "Don't you have a phone? Are your fingers broken?" It was brutal, like a slap across the face. We said nothing more that evening. The silence was deafening. The reunion, the one he'd clearly envisioned, was a disaster. I felt the weight of it, the consequence of my choices, already pressing down on us. I put away the 6 Days on the Road CD, feeling sick. This was the start. This was the breakdown. My eyes drifted to the first of the blue boxes. These were the ones I'd been avoiding. The really painful ones. The ones that held the truth of how everything fell apart. The ones that smelled of distrust and deceit. My hands shook as I reached for it. Inside, I found a CD. No card this time, but I remembered. I remembered the lavender flowers that came with it. Lavender, the symbol of distrust. Irony, right? I reluctantly put the CD in. It was a Bob Seger song. The lyrics hit me like a gut punch. "I know it's late. I know you're tired. I know I'm not in your plans." It was exactly how Dave must have felt, how I was making him feel. At the office, the whispers had turned into open stares. The girls, my colleagues, they'd all seen me with Mark. They knew. They adored Dave, and they were pissed. Carol, my desk mate, came up to me, her face etched with worry, but also disappointment. "Bethany, what have you done?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. I looked at her, then around the office. Everyone was watching, and in that moment, fueled by Mark's promises and my own delusion, I decided to just rip off the Band-Aid. "I'm leaving Dave," I announced, my voice louder than I intended. "In 2 weeks, I'm moving in with Mark." The silence that followed was chilling. Carol just shook her head. "Bethany, I think you're making a huge mistake. Your husband is crazy about you." Then Brenda and Sarah came over, their faces thunderous. Brenda just stared, but Sarah, my best friend, her eyes were burning. "Bethany," she said, her voice low and dangerous, "don't come crying to me when everything goes to hell. You hear me? Don't you dare." But I didn't hear her. Not really. I was so wrapped up in Mark. in this grand new future I'd conjured up. I truly believed it. I believed that what I had with Mark, this intense, exciting, forbidden thing, would be worth all the pain, all the destruction. I was so utterly, completely blinded. Stick around to the end to see how life's costly choices unfold. I walked into the house later that week, still buzzing from another lunch with Mark. Dave was in the living room, quiet, watching TV. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The Bob Seger song was still playing in my head, gnawing at me. "Why did you send me that?" I practically yelled, confronting him. "Why would you send me that song?" He turned, his eyes cold, almost lifeless. "Because," he hissed, the sound sending shivers down my spine, "you seem more interested in someone else, Bethany. The postcard and the disc, they just matched my thoughts." He knew. He didn't know what yet, but he knew something was fundamentally wrong. "You're wrong, Dave, just wrong," I retorted, the lie tasting like ash in my mouth. I knew he wasn't wrong, he was painfully, horribly right. But admitting it? That felt impossible. I brushed away a tear, a single, pathetic tear, and shoved the blue box with the Bob Seger CD back into storage. My fingers paused over the second blue box. This one? This one still makes my stomach clench. I remember getting it the day after the Bob Seger song. It was just sitting on the porch, no name, no return address, just another blue box. I snatched it up, hurried inside, and put the CD in. It was another sad song, lyrics about a love that was lost, a relationship crumbling. It felt like another punch, another sign that Dave was unraveling, and I was the cause. Meanwhile, while I was busy wallowing in my self-pity and my affair, Dave's suspicions had hardened into a grim resolve. He wasn't just sad or confused anymore. He was actively investigating. He started meticulously documenting my movements, my excuses. NGL, the man was thorough. Ex-military, remember? He was like a trained operative, and I was the clueless target. The first red flag for him, apparently, was my wedding ring. He noticed it. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't. Then it would reappear, gleaming on my finger like nothing had happened. A classic cheating move, right? And I was so stupid, so caught up in Mark, that I didn't even realize he was noticing. Then came the tracker. He subtly planted a small GPS tracker in my car. I drove around, completely oblivious, while he watched my every move. He also started checking our joint bank account. Nothing major, but unusual cash withdrawals. Small amounts, but frequent. Enough to raise eyebrows. Enough to pay for those lunches and drinks with Mark. Dave didn't waste any time. He called a private investigator. Can you even imagine? He gave him my routine, my work schedule, and even Mark Peterson's name. Within days, the PI had initial photo evidence. Pictures of me and Mark, laughing, touching, looking way too cozy. My stomach twists just thinking about it. He also started checking my phone records. Not just the calls, but the duration, the frequency. He noticed a recurring unknown number. Mark's burner phone, probably. I was so careful, I thought. So damn clever. But Dave was smarter. He was always smarter. He began recording the dates and times I was out with Sarah or working late. All the lies meticulously documented. Then one evening it happened. The stolen rings discovery. I guess I'd been careless. So careless. Dave found a discarded jewelry box, empty, tucked away in the back of my closet. It was one of the buys from the diamond rings he'd given me. My anniversary gifts. The ones I'd cherished so much. He connected the dots. The missing rings, the unusual cash spending, my evasive behavior, the mystery phone calls, the late nights. He knew. He knew everything, or at least enough to know that his wife, the woman he adored, was cheating on him. I can only imagine the ice that must have formed in his heart, the shattering realization, all because of my selfish, stupid choices, all because I chased a ghost. The PI's report finally came. Pages and pages of cold hard proof. Photos of me and Mark out in the open, laughing, touching, looking way too comfortable. Every single one of them a punch to Dave's gut, I'm sure. I can only imagine the rage and hurt he must have felt looking at those. But he didn't confront me then. Not directly. He was too smart for that. He played it cool, though, at first. A few days later, he asked, "Hey, have you seen your diamond choker? The one I gave you for our first anniversary? It's not in your jewelry box." I froze. NGL, I'd been taking it off when I was with Mark. Stupid, I know. But the guilt of wearing Dave's gift while with another man was too much, even for me. I immediately went into full gaslighting mode. "Oh, I probably lost it," I said, trying to sound casual. "Or maybe I took it to the jeweler to get cleaned." "IDK, Dave, you're being weird." He just nodded, but his eyes were like steel. What I didn't know was that while I was busy trying to convince him he was crazy, he was busy being a detective. My briefcases, I work in insurance, so I always have a few for client meetings. He went through them, and he found them. Hidden hotel receipts, love notes from Mark. My stomach clenches just thinking about it. He used his connections, I guess, from his business or ex-military days to verify those hotel receipts. And guess what? They coincided exactly with his Pittsburgh trip, the days Mark and I were in our marital bed. Then he found the hidden compartment in my car. I used it to stash the little gifts Mark would give me. He even found those. Little trinkets, nothing valuable, but enough to confirm everything. He confronted me again, this time with the hotel receipts. "What are these, Bethany?" he asked, holding them up, his voice dangerously low. I panicked. I denied everything, of course. Burst into tears even. "How could you accuse me of something like this, Dave? After everything we have, are you seriously doing this to me?" Classic deflection, classic gaslighting. I tried to turn it back on him, make him feel like the bad guy, and for a moment, I almost believed my own lies. But Dave wasn't buying it. Not anymore. He consulted a lawyer, a divorce lawyer, and he wasn't playing games. He started gathering everything, all our financial documents, every piece of evidence. He was methodical and ruthless. Then came the cameras. He installed them in our home, discreetly, of course, hidden in plain sight. And I was so blind, so arrogant, so caught up in my affair that I never even noticed. So he captured it. Me bringing Mark into our marital bed, the ultimate betrayal, the irrefutable proof. He also discreetly changed the locks on our joint safe deposit box. All our important documents, our wills, our investments, secured. He wasn't leaving anything to chance. And then he found it. A separate secret bank account, under my maiden name. I'd opened it a few weeks into the affair, thinking I was so smart. He tracked the source of the funds in that secret account. It wasn't my salary. It wasn't an inheritance. It was money. Money Mark was giving me. Not a lot, but enough to feel like a complete and utter whore. It made me sick to my stomach, even then. I was not just a cheating wife, but a kept woman. Finally, he set up the confrontation. The grand finale. He invited me over for dinner, and he made sure Sarah was there, my best friend. He knew how important she was to me. He wanted her to witness my reaction, to witness the evidence. He wanted me to have no escape. The PI delivered his final, irrefutable report, a timeline of the entire affair. Every lie, every meeting, every detail. It was all there. And then the final devastating blow for Dave. He discovered my plan, my completely delusional plan to take a significant portion of his assets in the divorce. I was going to ruin him, not just emotionally, but financially. What a monster I was. The air in the living room was thick, suffocating. Dave, Sarah, and me. Dave looked at me, then at Sarah, his face a stone mask. He started, "So Bethany, let's talk about my trip to Pittsburgh." His voice was calm, almost unnervingly so, which made it even scarier. Then he laid it all out. He pulled out the hotel receipts, spread them on the coffee table. My heart was pounding. Then the photos from the PI, me and Mark, laughing, holding hands, kissing. Each photo was a blow. And then the love notes Mark had written, found in my briefcase. My face went absolutely white. My denials, which had been so automatic, turned into pathetic, desperate pleas, weak excuses. "It wasn't what it looked like, Dave. Please. It was just a mistake." Sarah sat there silent, watching it all unfold. Her face was a mixture of shock and disgust. I could see the realization dawning on her. the full, ugly depth of my betrayal. She'd warned me, and I hadn't listened. Dave continued, relentless. He pulled out his phone, showing us the GPS tracking data. My car parked at Mark's apartment, at random, unknown locations. My blood ran cold. He confronted me about the missing wedding ring, the little jewelry box he found. Every single lie, every single secret exposed. And then, the ultimate humiliation. He connected his laptop to the TV. I have something else I want you both to see, he said, his voice flat, devoid of any emotion. He played the footage from the hidden cameras. Me, Mark, in our bed, in our home. I could hear Sarah gasp. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't look. The shame, the pure, unadulterated shame, washed over me like a tidal wave. I broke down, a complete sobbing mess. There was no more denying. I'm so sorry, Dave. Please, please forgive me. It was a mistake, a terrible, horrible mistake. The words spilled out, desperate, meaningless. He just stared at me, his eyes empty. A mistake? A mistake, Bethany? Is that what you call this? He then pulled out printouts of the secret bank account under my maiden name. And is this mistake why you've been taking money from him? Is this why you plan to bleed me dry in the divorce? Sarah finally spoke, her voice shaking with rage. Bethany, how could you? What kind of person are you, Dave? She's a liar, a hypocrite. She doesn't deserve you. Her words cut deeper than anything Dave had said. My best friend, my rock. She was gone. Dave looked at me, a finality in his gaze that chilled me to the bone. I've filed for divorce, Bethany. I have all the evidence I need, every single piece. You won't be getting a dime more than what you legally brought into this marriage. And I promise you, that won't be much. He pointed to a small, pre-packed suitcase sitting by the door. Your things are in there. You need to leave, now. I stood there stunned, my mind reeling, my entire world imploding. I tried to reach for my phone, desperate to call Mark, to tell him what was happening, to find comfort and escape, but he was too busy. His phone went straight to voicemail. He didn't answer my texts. My new life with Mark was already a fantasy, crumbling around me. Dave then looked at Sarah, then back at me, his face hardened. My lawyer will also be serving Mark Peterson with a civil suit for alienation of affection. Another blow. A final crushing blow. He didn't wait. He walked over to this front door, opened it wide, gesturing for me to leave. As I stumbled out, bag in hand, he slammed the door shut behind me. I heard the locks changing. One by one, he blocked me from his phone, his social media, his life. Just like that, I was erased. So I moved in with Mark. NGL, the thrill died fast. The secrecy, the forbidden excitement. That was what kept us going. Without it, he was just Mark, and he was pissed. The civil suit Dave filed hit him hard, hurting his reputation, making him distant and resentful. Suddenly, I wasn't his one that got away. I was a liability. Dave's divorce proceedings? Swift, brutal. He had everything. Every receipt, every photo, every damn camera file footage. I lost almost everything. Financial ruin, minimal spousal support. My dreams of Mrs. Dr. Mark Peterson crumbled when Mark, unable to handle the fallout, eventually left me too, just like he did the first time. Sarah, she actually went to Dave and apologized for not believing him. She hasn't spoken to me since. My former colleagues, my friends, everyone's gone. I'm utterly alone. These blue boxes, they don't hold romanticized memories anymore. They're just heavy, bitter symbols of every choice I made, every lie I told, every person I hurt. Dave, I hear, is thriving. He found peace. He got his justice. His nuclear revenge, as he probably calls it, worked. He's stronger, wiser. Me, I'm left to face the profound, crushing weight of my moral consequences. Lost everything I cherished, all because I chased a ghost and destroyed a home. So I moved in with Mark. NGL, the thrill died fast. The secrecy, the forbidden excitement, that was what kept us going. Without it, he was just Mark, and he was pissed. The civil suit Dave filed hit him hard, hurting his reputation, making him distant and resentful. Suddenly, I wasn't his one that got away. I was a liability. Dave's divorce proceedings? Swift, brutal. He had everything. Every receipt, every photo, every damn camera footage. I lost almost everything. Financial ruin, minimal spousal support. My dreams of Mrs. Dr. Mark Peterson crumbled when Mark, unable to handle the fallout, eventually left me too, just like he did the first time. Sarah, she actually went to Dave and apologized for not believing him. She hasn't spoken to me since. My former colleagues, my friends, everyone's gone. I'm utterly alone. These blue boxes, they don't hold romanticized memories anymore. They're just heavy, bitter symbols of every choice I made, every lie I told, every person I hurt. My entire life, meticulously documented, now just a record of my own destruction. Dave, I hear, is thriving. He found peace. He got his justice. His nuclear revenge, as he probably calls it, worked. He's stronger, wiser. Me, I'm left to face the profound, crushing weight of my moral consequences. Lost everything I cherished, all because I chased a ghost and destroyed a home. It's an empty kind of ending, this. Just me, the boxes, and the silence.